it'll be a two-part question.
Go.
One is for all the stunts you had to do as Erkel. Did you have to get any kind of training, stunt training? Because some of them you did, you could easily get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I think his name's Reginald, who played Carl. Just jumped out of my head. Yeah. How much did he love always being the brunt of your accidents?
Reggie had there's a lot of clickbait out there. Reggie and I had phenomenal chemistry working together. He was a great sport about, so much that would take place. And, there was so much physical comedy. So many times he had to get wet or doused with flour or, he was constantly taking a shower after a film scene with me. And he had a great attitude about it. We had a lot of fun doing a lot of the physical comedy and the tandem comedy that we did back then. As far as the stunts or the physical comedy, I frequently wore shin guards and knee pads underneath my jeans. So a lot of times my tight jeans would be used to hide some of the protective stuff that I would have to keep me safe, bumping into things and tearing up stuff. So that's one thing. Sometimes physical comedy can also just be born out of production. Remember the Winslow's coffee table? I remember they wanted me to crash the coffee table. But over time, you probably noticed we broke a lot of those coffee tables. Like you could probably put a whole reel together of just all the coffee tables that we broke. And so the reason why was because the breakaway coffee table that they needed to order, the company would not make just one. So they had a minimum order. So we had like about 20 to 30 breakaway coffee tables. Coffee tables. And I remember Dave Uclon, our showrunner, just, again, it was a different time back then. It was like, hey, anybody got a joke or anything where we could break one of these coffee tables? We always get a big reaction out of the audience when Steve breaks a coffee table. So that's one reason why we broke so many coffee tables, because we just had so many damn breakaway coffee tables.
And I knew that.
And what else about physical comedy? Rich Carell, our director. We had several rotation directors, but Rich Carell and Joel Zwick, who directed my Big Fat Greek Wedding, I probably directed the most episodes out of our rotation directors. And Rich could be credited with directing my first episode and taking more of a vested interest in my character in particular. His father was one of the voices of Amos and Andy. And Rich had a very rich comedy background himself. So I remember being on the first day of shooting. He taught me the trick of how to run into a swinging door, of hitting it with your foot first and then snapping your head back. And people were more or less reacting to the sound before they even reacted to the head snapping back. So he taught me all these different little tricks, just not, how not to get hurt. And we would use stunt people appropriately. Only one time did I get hurt in front of the audience. There was a collapsing bed that I had to have a little fight with. And Laura and I were staying in the same hotel room, and I didn't want to sleep in the same bed as her. And so I was fumbling with this collapsing bed, and my finger got wedged though in the metal, and they rushed in quickly. I thought I was going to lose my darn thing. That's what I did. They rushed in quickly and saved my finger, but it's a little jacked up still today. But
all right, we got one more over here. All right, go right ahead.
I'm curious if you have any props from the TV show, any of your outfits.
That's funny. I regret not taking more clothes, but it was in my deal that I got the car when it was done. So my mom's had that car in the garage for since and she restored it to perfect condition. I would never try if it did, just because I would get too much attention. But but I have that. I have my original glasses. I have original shoes. I have a couple of items, but it's not like I'm really stocked up. And I keep a few Erkel dolls around still. When I want to give one away to somebody particularly special, I have a small batch.
And we have enough time. I see your hand right here, and I notice
This
your
guy
outfit.
who's
So
perfectly dressed.
I want to see. Yeah. What's up? What do you have to say?
We gotta do YouTube boys.
Yeah, you sure? I mean, we can. Sounds good. All right, let me jump on down.
We get back down. We good.
All right.
I'm watching the clock.
So, would you have any advice for young actors?
Yeah. That's really what a lot of my book is kind of about. It's talking to kind of this generation. It's about things that I saw and they should kind of need to be on things you need to recognize. The first thing I would say to a young actor now is, do you want to be famous or do you want to be an actor? So I'll ask you that question. Do you want to be famous or do you want to be an actor?
I mean, if I can be famous, I would just say
No. It's a very specific and it's an adult question. Is your drive to be an actor because you really just want to be famous? Or do you want to be an actor, and if you happen to become famous and you have to deal with that, that's fine. They're two different things. Where did your thrill come from? Does your thrill come from everybody recognizing you, or does your thrill come from the actual action of performing on a stage and moving an audience with what you do?
the actor.
Okay. So now that you've told me that you want to be an actor, I think it's very important that you begin to study acting. It's very important that you begin to understand the tones of a performance, what it means when somebody says, just throw the line away, or that's over the top. There's a terminology that you might go look up. You have to decide whether or not you want to be a comedic actor, do you want to be a dramatic actor, or do you think you have the capability to do both? I would say if you're going to be an actor, you should absolutely fall in love with what it is to perform on a stage. Sometimes when you perform on a stage, you don't get paid a lot of money, but it might be really, really satisfying. But that's what saves great, great actors. So even myself, I really consider myself a very capable actor. But sometimes I even have to be a little deferential and be like, man, that guy's a thespian because that guy does 8 shows a week on Broadway. And that is a completely different home. But it's the very thing that actually will protect your state of mind when the business starts becoming complicated, is that if you're an actor, you can always go back to acting if you've made inroads into becoming a well-known and accomplished actor. Now, if you just want to be famous, well, you can get on social media right now and you can start impersonating people and making great videos. And even then, I would say, well, if you want to be famous, I would advise that you become a very good editor on your phone, because there's some people that can edit just okay on their phones, and then there's some people that will stay there and edit professionally on their phones. And if you want to do that, then that would make you, that would help you become more well-known and more famous quickly. If you can do both, forgive my French, but that makes you a badass.
It's amazing.